see if I can finish Watanagashi End. Sorry about that. And sorry I started so late. Something was very... yeah. Let me turn down that audio. And let's continue. And we're going to load the end of chapter 11. And we probably might have to read it fast again. I am so sorry. Keiichi. Just leave him alone. His friend was missing. It must be really hard for him. Normally my dad never shows me any consideration, but this time he did. Shouldn't Keiichi stay home from school for a while too? I think it's safer not to go until the police do something about this. Maybe. Compared to what could happen, taking a few days off wouldn't be a bad idea. Anyway, how is it logical not to close the school during such a dangerous situation? What do those teachers think our children are? Mom and Dad were getting pretty riled up, but I couldn't care less. It wasn't the only thing I couldn't care about. The breakfast table, the food in front of me, the time and date, myself. I really had no interest in anything. This feeling was like a dead fog in my mind. It felt like getting dizzy after taking strong medication. Keiichi, how have your studies going? You've gone further than the other kids, haven't you? If you have, then you can take a few days off, alright? I didn't even feel like answering. Today was Thursday. 4 days had only passed since the Watanagashi festival. Such a short time, and yet how things were completely different. Everything had changed. The tranquil village, bright and clear as if it were an Indian summer, had undergone a total reversal. People were made to disappear every night. We couldn't even relax when walking out in broad daylight. The village had become a world of fear. I had no right to curse this outcome. After all, the one responsible for everything was me. That night, I couldn't resist my honestly tiny, little, and incredibly stupid curiosity, and broke the taboo. This isn't somewhere we should be going, is it? That's not. It's a crime to force your way into a locked building, even if you don't steal anything, Shion. Now that you know that they weren't having some secret rendezvous, you've had enough, right? I don't want to do something like this. Wherever this dance ends while we're messing around here. I prowled on and I took the lock from Tomitaki's hands and I put it back on the door. I'll forget everything I saw here, so come on, let's go, let's go! Takano was fretting, but I pushed her away. Tomitaki grinned painfully. Shion's shoulders drooped as if to call me an idiot. Even so, I didn't care. I pushed everyone farther and farther away. Rika's dance was still going on. Then at last her dance was brought to a close with a roaring applause. I too, until my hands turned red. I clapped and I clapped. Isn't that Rena? She's here because of her usual meetup, isn't she? I looked up at the clock. It was 5 minutes past. Keiichi, shouldn't you take a few days off from school? You're right. Thanks for being so considerate. I rose from my seat to greet Rena. Good morning. We're going to school as a group starting today, so you can't be late. Oh, that's right. If we, the ones farthest away, were to be late, us younger kids would be waiting for us. I think I'm going to take some time off from school. Okay, Rena answered shortly. I think you should do whatever's best for you, Keiichi, so you don't need to feel that you're weak or anything. Oh, and here. It's a notice they're sending around. Give it to your mom. I think it has a lot of important announcements. Okay. The police are looking the best they can, too. They'll find them for sure. Just be patient, okay? She tried to smile to give me courage. Rena, you're not going to question me? Nope. Rena, you know, don't you? About that night, Do you mean when you snuck into the ritual storehouse? I was speechless for a moment, and then bit my lip and made up my mind, and nodded a little. So it's all out in the open. Really. I shouldn't do bad things like that. Mi-chan was really mad. So she was upset. I suppose she would have been. I don't think she was as angry about you sneaking in there, though, as much as you hiding it from her. Maybe, Kei-chan, if you would have told her yourself and apologized. I should have told her myself and apologized. That troubled me. Just 1 week ago, I did something that I myself should have apologized to Mion for. I hurt her badly. I hadn't realized that at all. Plus, with all the confusion with Shion's appearance had brought, I still hadn't been able to talk to Mion about it. Rena, you're right. I I never realize anything until you tell me.
Keiichi, hypothetically, if you had admitted you'd done something wrong right away and apologized to Michan, I wonder if Sadako and Rika wouldn't have had to disappear.
I couldn't have answered right away. I couldn't admit to that. Wasn't Rena telling me to right now? I could have admitted to my crimes sooner. If I hadn't done that and apologized, would these things not have gone in such a horrible direction? Rena's eyes were filled with kindness, but they weren't naive enough to forgive me for keeping silent. They stared fixedly into my own. Yeah, you're right. If I had admitted my crime sooner, then Rika and Sadako wouldn't have had to die or disappear. The palm of Rena's hand slapped me in the cheek. I stood there unmoving, my head still tilted in the direction I'd been hit. It didn't hurt me at all.
I don't think that anyone has scolded you, Keiichi. So I'll scold you in their place, okay?
I pressed my hand to my cheek, now warm with embarrassment, quietly stared down at Rena's feet.
Going somewhere you're not allowed to go was a very bad thing to do. Do you understand that?
Uh-huh.
Answer me with a yes, Keiichi.
Yes.
Also, what's even worse, you didn't even admit to having done something so bad. You should never do anything bad in the first place, but not admitting to it or apologizing for him is much, much worse.
Yes. I was wrong. For a few moments, Rena stared at me silently and intently, as if gauging my remorse. Then finally, the tension in her face softened, and she smiled.
Okay then, it's about time. I should be going.
All right.
Be sure to give the notice to your mom, okay? Also warn her not to go out past after it gets dark.
The pages had come out. Okay, so she slapped him so hard that the pages flew out. And then he sees a notice. We still have plenty of homemade soy sauce in stock. Feel free to come to the Sonozaki house if you want some. What is this? I picked up the page and scanned the rest of it. They were stockpiling high-quality soy sauce they got from faraway relatives in the Akita prefecture. They'd gotten a big shipment recently. They couldn't use it all, so they wanted anyone who wanted some of it to feel free to come over. P.S. It said it arrived in barrels. Bring a 2-liter bottle or other to contain for it. That's how it tied together.
If you need some soy sauce, then you would go to the Sonozaki house, Rena.
Oops. If you need some soy sauce, then you would go to the Sonozaki house. Rena, did you know all along?
Yeah, I knew.
Rena had already been suspicious of Mion. As soon as she noticed that big bottle of soy sauce was missing, Rika had taken the bottle, gone to Mion's house, and there, she was erased. Rika wasn't coming back, so Sadako called Mion's house. She knew where she'd gone, and then Sadako got called there as well. That meeting on the day the mayor disappeared, didn't Oishi say that the 3 families participated in it? It would have included the Sonozaki, but didn't they say the current leader was really old, so Mion stood for her at public appearances? While the mayor was returning from the shrine, Mion had called out and stopped him. She talked to him and invited him, and then she made him disappear. It was probably even simpler to make Shion disappear. She was part of the Sonozaki. They probably knew what she was doing at all times. I'm sure they even know her part-time job schedule, too. Wasn't the Angel Mart managed by Sonozaki? Setting up an ambush wouldn't have been trouble at all. I'm going to Mion. I'll go apologize. I'm going to have her put an end to everything. Mion probably won't forgive me easily, but I'll go and ask her not to sacrifice anyone else. But I decided there was no need for me to be lazing around here. I put on my shoes and slipped past Rena to the exit, and she stopped me.
I'm going too.
Rena, shouldn't you go to school?
This is way more important than school.
Rena, you shouldn't come. If you get wrapped up in this too, then I think I might actually go crazy. Rena didn't move her arm, which was blocking my way.
If Keiichi disappeared as well, then I think I might actually go crazy too. So I won't let you go alone.
Rena argued boldly as tears welled up in her eyes. I saw them and I knew the strength of her resolve. All right, let's go. Thank you, Rena. Rena nodded slightly but firmly and finally let down the arm blocking me. Let's go. To Mion's house. I'll apologize for the crimes I committed, and then we'll put an end to these twisted days. After that, I'll pray that once more we can return to those fun, lively days. With Rena following me, I left the house. In front of the house, there was a car waiting. It was Oishi. Hey, good morning. Maibara. To you too, Ryugu. Together so early in the morning. You make me jealous. What a truly praiseworthy man he was if he had been lying in wait so early in the morning just to pressure me into talking. On this morning, though, it was a good opportunity.
You're from the police.
Oh, have I not introduced myself to you, Rugu? Please excuse my rudeness. My name is Oishi from the Okinomiya Police Department. Pleased to meet you.
Are we telling Oishi? Yeah, I think my poem is enough punishment for your crime, Keiichi, but we should leave Michan to these people.
Pain and sadness. I looked down as those emotions built up in my heart.
We have something to tell you, Oishi.
Well now, what about? Should we stand here and talk or go inside the car?
In the car, please.
I only continued to look down weakly. All I could do was be thankful for how dependable Rena was. Okay, he's revealing everything. How do you feel? Did you feel a lot better now that you told me?
Of course I didn't feel better.
But as long as that payment wasn't returned, that load in my chest would never be removed. So he's talking to people on the radio. Okay, and now they're checking out the Sonozaki premises, of course. Yeah, I'm in a rush, like I said, so, yeah. Sorry about that, it was about work. Okay, so, yep. So he's aware. They don't have a warrant, so they can't come.
Oishi, could you be?
Rena's tone of voice alone was enough to make her spite as clear as she stared at Oishi. You can't set foot in the Sonozaki house.
Were you trying to get Keiichi to go in there instead?
Rena, that's... What do you mean?
This person, just as I thought, he plays really dirty.
Stop, you're hurting my reputation. That said, I'm all ears to your explanation, okay? Oishi lit a cigarette and responded to Rena, wearing an expression implying he was calm and willing to let her comment slide.
You can't get a warrant, but you've always had your eyes on Michan because you thought she was suspicious.
Yeah?
You plotted to incite Keiichi and have him go to the Sonozaki house. Then if something were to happen to him, you would have used that as an excuse to go in. Isn't that right?
I only understood a half of what Rena was saying. I knew, however, that Oishi was trying to use me.
Even if Keiichi got hurt as a result, have you no shame? Is this how the police do things?
My. It seems we have an incredible detective on our hands. Oh my. Would you be interested in taking our exam? I'd gladly write a recommendation letter to get into the detective division.
You're despicable.
Rena spoke quietly, her words dripping with hostility. I've been insulted in all kinds of ways in my life, but one or two words from a young girl is always the roughest for me.
Even so, I suppose I should thank you for not arresting Michan yet.
Don't mention it. No one likes Oishi. Now then, as two esteemed friends of Mio and Sonozaki, what are you planning on doing now? Will you kindly wait for me to go over the evidence and request a warrant?
No, we won't wait for that. We'll go and make Michan surrender herself.
That's right. If she turned herself in rather than be arrested, she might get a lighter sentence. At this point, perhaps that was the only pity I could find in me to afford her. I see. I wonder if it'll go that well. If you're careless, you two may face danger, you know. Oishi was measuring her resolve. We're fully prepared! Oishi gave us an unpleasant yet seemingly satisfied grin.
If anything should happen to us, use that as an excuse. Though my greatest hope is that you'll surround the place so the criminal can't get away.
Ryu, you're good at negotiating too. I'm throwing in the towel. I surrender. What are you talking about?
If the police surround Michan's house, then that'll be insurance for the worst case scenario. For the worst case.
Plus it'd be another way of pressuring Mio to give up. Oishi Takuma. Okay, so they're talking. And then they're communicating that part. And stuff. So he's thinking about going to Mion's house. This is as far as I can take you. So, yeah. And they have security cameras, so they can't go in. And they can't be nearby.
We'll persuade her for sure, so please be ready for her to turn herself in.
Be careful, you hear? You probably don't believe it right now, but I don't want you two to be sacrificed if at all possible.
You're right about that.
What a rude response. We left the car.
Let's go, Keiichi.
Rena took the lead and began to walk. Down the road I'd never been. Rena, you've been to Mion's house before, right?
Yeah, a few times. It's a really big house. You could fit a mountain to her backyard, too. You could pick mushrooms and stuff, and though there are fences everywhere.
Big enough to fit a mountain. It's amazing. Okay, so they're talking about how they have like big fences and everything. Private property of the Sonsaki family. Entrance forbidden. Beware of snakes. Venomous snakes. Intruders will be charged an entry fee of 1 million yen. Active security cameras. So it's more like their domain and stuff. So she's explaining how that works. So they are really rich. They have a lot of land. I wonder if Mio's watching us if we come to her.
I don't think she is. The only people living in Michan's house are generally her and her grandma, after all. There's nobody to watch the cameras.
What a useless security system.
Well, Michan's father seems like a pretty tough person to get along with. Whenever anyone in the family's getting together, the cameras are apparently working properly.
So they're at the gate. And then they put the buzzer on. Okay. He's getting himself ready to speak with Mio. Well, this is unusual. Aren't you two going to school? Mio didn't seem at all surprised at visitors arriving this morning, which wasn't a normal time. She almost seemed relaxed as if she knew we were coming beforehand.
We stayed home today.
Kei-chan is one thing, but you two, Rena? You two are such troublemakers. Mio smiled lightly, like the Mio we always knew. Well, let's not just stand here. Come on in. She gestured for us to follow her. I hesitated for a moment looking at Rena.
Let's go!
Rena smiled cheerfully, as if passing through the house of a good friend. I rally myself and go through as well. On the other side, it hadn't been maintained very well. It was clear as a lot, magnificently wide. Wasn't this the first time that you've been here, Kei-chan? Yeah, this house is enormous. Steep thatched roofs aren't in fashion anymore. This place could be a tourist distraction. I want to rebuild it with totally average and boring reinforced concrete soon. She smiled dryly as she said that, closed the gate, and relocked the heavy bolt. Don't worry about it. Things have been dangerous lately. Gotta do at least this much during the daytime. Yeah, you're right. Maybe I saw a hint of a shadow in her smile, but it was probably my imagination. Well then, good sir and madame, shall I show you inside? Please come this way. She bowed like a high-class worker and pivoted her heel and began to walk. Rena gripped my arm.
Keiichi, you're too tense. We came to see Michan, remember? You don't need to be that nervous.
That's right. When I get nervous, I tend to let everything show on my face. I stop tensing up, even if just something were to happen. If it were the two of us, there would be other people waiting outside. There's nothing to worry about. What's this, Mion? What's with the stone on top of the newspapers? It's in the way. There's a bunch of newspapers. Rena, do you know what this is? Some kind of good luck charm? If you don't really know, feel free to move it out of the way and put your shoes there.
Keiichi, there's a nest of swallows right above that stone.
Oh, you're right. This house is for people, but swallows still come without permission and make nests. It must be like a tradition for them whenever spring comes. They always make a nest here. It's kind of annoying, though.
In other words, decide to not take off your shoes here because, yuck.
I couldn't help but laugh at this silly contrivance. My laughter naturally spread to the other two. A really long time ago, the Sonozaki family apparently cultivated silkworms. Our ancestors would get worked up all over exterminating the swallows. When you think of it that way, maybe it's our just desserts. Anyway, come on in. The inside of the house wasn't bright. It was dimly lit, but it had an elegance. Mion seemed to want a more modern building, but traditional houses like this aren't bad either. You're kidding, right? There's a terrible draft, and the winters are freezing. Don't go making my house into property of cultural significance and getting in the way of renovations, got it? What I want the most is a house like yours, Kei-chan. I'm pretty jealous of it. It seems like it'd be warm in winter. Oh, but snowfall seems like it would be a problem. Snowfall's a problem. Does Hinamizawa get that much snow? Our latitude is south of Kanto, isn't it? Isn't the region warm?
You don't know, Keiichi? Hinamizawa is in an area that gets heavy snowfall. When we get a lot, everyone gets buried. Sometimes you can't even get out of your house.
Sometimes your car gets totally buried too and you can't find where it is. I wasn't aware of that. Hinamizawa is that bad of a place in winter. My dad said something like this place got plenty of snow, we could have fun building igloos. But your front door getting buried and not being able to find your car? Too much snow. You remember from geography class, right? The western side of Japan gets cold winds from Asia. We're different from those softies protected by the mountains, nice and warm by the Pacific Ocean. I'm okay with being a softie and nice and warm. I hate the cold. We have a training camp to get Kei-chan used to cold winters like this then. No way! No way! There's no way that's happening! I hate cold, I hate training camps too, and I hate them even more put together. Mion laughs more uproariously than she ever had and told us she'd bring out some tea and left her seat for the moment.
Still, there's a lot of fun things to do in the winter. I bet our club will be a blast then.
Our club at continue activities through the winter sounds totally horrible. Like swimming in the cold or marching in the snow. When did we turn into Mount Redhorn?
Yeah, there were definitely a lot of tough punishment games for the winter season. One time she made us a Rio Carnival in the schoolyard while the snow was falling.
Oh my god.
We do snowball fights and shaved ice eating contests and treasure hunts in the snow.
Why is everything outside? Why can't we play tabletop games in a nice warm room while it's snowing?
Keiichi, if you're saying things like that, you're gonna lose a lot this winter. We'll have lots of punishment games and Rena won't lose. Hoo!
Don't give me that how! I gave her a cross shot to the head. You sure are having fun. Our walls aren't very thick, so be careful not to go flying through any, okay? The paper sliding door opened and Mion returned with a pot and complete tea set. Do you want sesame seeds on your rice? Sorry we don't have much in the way of bean paste or other good stuff. It's okay, it's okay. We didn't really come here to drink tea anyway. And with those words, a smile disappeared from Rena's face. Ah, she did it. Everything changed. It was a cheerful air like a warm spring day had slipped through the cracks in the paper door, altogether disappeared. No point in regretting it now. We did not come here today to chat and enjoy ourselves. She silently poured tea, and we didn't say anything. Here you go, drink up. We couldn't even mutter a word of acknowledgement. There's no poison in it or anything. Do you distrust me that much? That's upsetting. Mion gave a bitter smile and let her shoulders droop. Hey now, Kei-chan, Rena, you're the guest. Didn't you come here for something? If you don't speak up first, this old man won't know what to do. We exchanged glances and resigned ourselves.
Keiichi.
It's okay. I needed to come here. Let me talk first.
Okay, I understand.
What would Kei-chan have to tell me? Please give me your daughter's hand in marriage, maybe? Can't do that. My little Rena and Kei-chan aren't meant for each other. Go wash your face with miso soup and try again later. Afterwards, I thought her mean remarks were Mion's own way of showing consideration. Mion had said those mean things in a totally normal voice. It drained the tension. Mion, first, I have something to apologize for. You do? What for? Well, on the night of Watanagashi, the ritual storehouse behind the shrine, I went in there. I could see her expression immediately become harder. I knew it was somewhere I wasn't supposed to go, but it was just supposed to be a little bit of exploration. We didn't mean anything by it. Even so, I still shouldn't have done it. So I apologize. I'm sorry. To display my deepest sincerity, I pressed my forehead to the table. I meant it as my way of prostrating myself. I figured it wouldn't feel sincere enough if I raised my head right away. I left it on the table for a while. Mion didn't say anything. I couldn't tell what face she had. Only the voices of the cicadas filled the room, and the sound of the clock. You got me there. I didn't expect you to pitch it to me straight. You've got me on the ropes. If you understand that, even though it was only a casual exploration for you, Kei-chan, there are a lot of people who think it's no laughing matter, and it's okay. There's an old saying, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. It's been days since then. It may be too late. I apologize. What I did was wrong. Please forgive me. I could feel pitiful tears welling up within me. If I had done this sooner, maybe nothing terrible would have happened. It's okay. If you know what you did was bad, then that's enough, right?
Mi-chan, Keiichi's apologizing seriously. I think maybe you should respond seriously as well.
I am being serious, though. Do I not look serious to you, Rena?
You don't. Keiichi, you can get up now. Let's tell her everything. That looks like what Mi-chan wants too.
I had known it'd turn out like this from the beginning. Had I come prepared for that? Mion, you called Rika and Sadako the day before last, right? I don't remember doing so. If you have a reason to think so, could you let me hear it? It was evening before dinner time. Rika should have come here, bringing a big ball of soy sauce, to have you share some with her. Mio was trying to keep from showing any reaction. I didn't miss her eyelid twitching just a little bit.
Why do you think that? It's not hard to understand, Mi-chan. You saw it too, didn't you? Rika's room. There was chilled tofu, but no soy sauce.
Okay, that's everything that we already learned. What, is that why she'd come here?
Mion, drop the act. You wrote it for yourself on the notice. You'd share the soy sauce.
She scratched her head. I ever so faintly heard her click her tongue.
Then Mi-chan, Rika, you hit her.
Oh. That was really supposed to be the end, wasn't it? For you, anyway. What are you talking about?
You didn't foresee that Rika would tell Sadako that she was going to your house, did you, Mi-chan?
Then Sadako called.
Might Rika be imposing on you? Yeah, probably just like that.
You sound just like her.
Mi-chan, you were in a bit of a bind then, because someone knew that Rika had come here. So you decided to lure Sadako here too.
Lure her out? Like how, I wonder? Mio was panicking. What Rena was saying was a bullseye.
It probably went like this. Sadako, I actually made too much dinner today, so why not come over and eat? Rika came earlier and already ate some. Something like that.
Her nails dug into her knee. There's no recordings of the phone conversations or anything, so how do you know that much?
I know it because the dinner that Sadako was made hasn't been touched.
There. With just that to go on? How could you even guess what we said over the phone? Okay, so... That's... I had no idea I had such an incredible detective right next to me the whole time. I can't believe you figured everything down to the phone conversation just from what was inside the fridge. You've got me there. You got me there. You've got me. It almost seemed like Mion had lost the detective punishment game for the club, and her punishment had been decided. How fun would that have been if it were true?
An incredible detective, Mi-chan. You're the one who guessed what Oishi told us. He called me an incredible detective too.
As soon as she heard Oishi's name, she panicked. Mion, the police have suspected you for a long time now. And so he tells her that she's been surrounded.
Was the mayor Mi-chan too?
Were Tomitake and Takano you as well? She adjusted herself and sat upright. Her expression changed. The impatience and wonderment in her expression disappeared. She became so solemn, you'd think she was about to conduct a tea ceremony. I could sense it. Right now in this moment, Mion ceased to be Mion, but had changed into Sonozaki Mion, the current heir to the Sonozaki house. Now I could believe it. Now I could believe she was the young leader who commanded the entire Sonozaki clan. Mion quietly placed both of her hands on the tatami mat and gave a beautifully elegant bow as if this was really a tea ceremony. We meet for the first time. I am the current heir to the Sonozaki house. My name is Mion. Mion's movements were so elegant they could cut. We couldn't even answer her. I would like to welcome you to the Sonozaki main house today. I'll greet you all in place of our leader, Oreo. It seems as though you've had various things you would like to ask. If I can be of any assistance, then I'd love to answer without concealing anything. What did Mion just say? She'd answer everything we ask? It's really all right if we ask anything then? I shall tell you everything I know. That is why you've come here after all.
Why would you do this?
That's what I wanted to ask as well. That didn't only go for Rika and Sadako, but the mayor, Tomitake and Takano, and all the incidents from the past year. She couldn't respond. It was too vague. To answer that question will take some time. If that is acceptable, however, I would like by all means for you to hear it. Do you know that Hinamizawa used to be called Onigafuchi Village? Hinamizawa was once called Onigafuchi Village. Okay, so we're skipping that part. We were proud transcendents, descended from the demons. Those villages in the foot of the mountains worshipped and honored them. Nevertheless, that all decayed with the end of the Tokugawa era. The black ships arrived, the era of the samurai ended, the era of national isolation ended, and the tradition of worshipping Onigafuchi Village quickly disappeared. Those things that lingered for the past were to be detested. That was the era it became. The Meiji era began, the name Onigafuchi Village, with its long history, was forcibly changed to Hinamizawa. I've heard the Meiji government strongly wished to erase the old customs. The abolition of feudal domains, the establishment of prefectures, an era had begun seeing Japan sprinting up the stairs that were beyond their means to try and reach the same level as the rest of the world. All things in the Western style were to be extolled, while all old traditional things were to be scorned. That was the sort of era it was. Our ancestors in Onigafuchi Village were proud transcendents descended from the demons. At last Japan, provoked by the great European powers colonizing countries in Asia one by one, began a policy to increase its wealth and military power so it could stand as a global power in its own right. Conscription began. They won war after war, the first Sino-Japanese War, that's Chinese, and the Russo-Japanese War, until the Pacific War broke out. They recklessly climbed the staircase toward modernization. At the time, Onigafuchi had already lost its impenetrability. The villagers once worshipped the transcendents were now at the receiving end of inhuman treatment. The sacred Onigafuchi village had been groundlessly labeled an isolated village afflicted with incurable diseases, a mere shadow of its former self, and stood on the precipice of an era of hardship. Thus harsh days where one would suffer unreasonable discrimination just because one knew what people were from Onigafuchi. The children in the village at the foot of the mountain were taught not to go near Hinamizawa because filthy germs were rampant there. Children who had come into contact with children in Hinamizawa would cry and wail as their parents purified the spot they were touched by rubbing salt. One of the adults said to the children that if you got lost in Hinamizawa, you'd be kidnapped by demons, cut up to pieces and devoured. Never go near the terrifying village of man-eating demons. Another said during the famine long ago, the people of Hinamizawa gathered up all the corpses they discarded into dry riverbeds and cooked and ate them in order to survive. Groundless stories, but said in seriousness. Baseless slander added to baseless slander made it Onigafuchi's village historically accurate, thrilling history all more believable. Perhaps the chain of undue discrimination was a manifestation of people's anxiety of certain times. It didn't only end with the perspective of children. If anyone found out you were from Onigafuchi, people would turn down any job you applied for. People would go back on engagement and marriage proposals. As for marriages where one partner had lied about it, the truth got out and they were made to divorce. And this is the case for other taboo things as well. Like, this is just for, like, when it comes to the man-eating demons, but it comes for anything taboo in that. Well, that's what I hear, so. That's all I know, so, yeah. And that's only from classes. I don't know, okay? I don't know. That's just what I learned, okay? Take it with a grain of salt, I don't know. It even caused trials. They would appeal when one came from what wasn't an important enough reason to divorce. They would, however, lose their case. Lying about one's birthplace apparently constitutes a heavy act of misrepresentation in marriage.
That's terrible.
I've heard about discrimination toward those small villages in civics class. Just because others knew you were from a tiny hamlet, you would be subjected to every societal disadvantage there was, a modern form of bullying. I only memorized that because it was going to be on a test one time. I recall being suspicious about it and unable to believe such discrimination occurred in modern Japan. So, okay, there, Keiichi confirmed it for you. Well, I suppose I can't say that they weren't asking for it. Our ancestors were proud of the demon blood flowing through them. They lived their lives boasting about it, scorning all at the foot of the mountain after all. They struck fear into the villagers down, where their mystique demanded gifts of dread and tribute. During the Pacific War, despite the slogans all the country was acting as one, those from Hinamizawa continued to suffer all manner of discrimination. Too many to count. They sent their husbands and sons to war. The women on the home front would suffer greatly too. My grandmother remembers it well. She remembers it being a difficult time. Even that bitterly long war, however, finally ended in 1945. Hinamizawa had lost many male hands, but at last their fathers and husbands and sons returned to them. Of course, there were many who didn't come back. Nevertheless, for those in Hinamizawa were at their limits, barely being able to maintain the village without their men, their return was a very happy thing. MacArthur's GHQ set to work drastically improving mindsets and strove for the abolition of unfair discrimination. They could feel the day breaking on the dismal night that was the previous era. Hinamizawa was on the verge of turning into a ghost town. Those in the village started to say they should rebuild it once again and got to work, trying to make the village a little bit more plentiful. During that time, someone appeared who built up a fortune, with the vast numbers of dealings in the black market, was Mio's grandfather, the husband of the elderly current family, Sohei Sonozaki. Sohei said that he managed food in the warehouses in Harbin after being dispatched to the Chinese mainland. When it was time to pull out, he conspired with his superiors and comrades and stole a great deal of the army's canned goods. He hid them somewhere in Seto Inland Sea and sold them widely at a high price. Let's revive this ruined village. All who live here are our family, and this fortune is our collective property, he proclaimed to my grandmother, the current head. That vast fortune was why we were revitalized. Okay. There are many people who begrudged the money coming back from the black market, but the villagers no longer minded it. They succeeded at one business venture after another. Those who had succeeded freely supported those who followed them. This giant family of the Hinamizawa, tied together through strong bonds, held its influence. Okay. Okay. Around 1955, the wind started blowing in the other direction because of the canned flesh incident. Someone naming himself as my grandfather Sohei Sonozaki's superior confessed those canned goods had been human flesh. Uh-oh. They were just about to wipe away the stigma. Oh. Why were the cans like that? Wasn't Sohei just the manager of food warehouses? His superiors revealed Sohei did not have the job of managing the food. In reality, Sohei's job during the war had been to exterminate pestilent mice and transport the corpses of those with infectious diseases. It had been unfair treatment, and all because of the lowliness of his origins. See, exactly, this was what I was talking about earlier. Like, you don't want to handle corpses with, like, that, things like that. That's seen as something below. Okay? That's a taboo. As a result, he had returned safely without having been sent to the front lines or being detained. Perhaps it was the only fortunate thing that happened to him. He was enlisted as an assistant in the military medical institution. There, however, he found something even worse, low, scorned, depressing customs on Onigafushi village and the research they carried out. The bacterial corpse in the old Japanese army or whatever, did they find that? Okay, I'm pretty sure it was Unit 731. It was a nightmare unit that devoted itself to researching terrifying bacteriological weapons to break the deadlock in war. A deadlock. They used many innocent people as fodder for horrible human experiments. They would methodically observe how many days a new strain would take to kill victims, how many days it would take to be injected, how many days it would be swallowed. They dissected many people to find that out. Sometimes they wouldn't even bother waiting until they were dead and dissected them while they were still alive. So, okay, remember, Japan did things like this, okay? They would strap them into centrifuges while alive and crush them in decompression chambers while still alive. So if you, like, I think it could be understandable why, like, East Asian countries do not like Japan. Some of them don't. Because I know my parents, they don't like that. They certainly don't. Anyway, yeah. When a live human decompresses, all the holes in their body gets pushed outwards and their intestines get pushed out of their anus like a snake winding out of it. I have a feeling I saw a documentary. The unit Sohei was in a way kind of research in that. They were researching concrete methods for reducing difficulty of delivering food on the battlefield. Okay. The military's design at the start of the war completely fell apart. A chronic food shortage broke out all over the battlefront. Food shortage led to malnutrition as their natural resistance is lowered. Soldiers battled one disease after another. Spirit and morale lowered. Okay, that was when the research started. It was very broad and included things from violent methods like stealing it from citizens to survival methods, how to cook unfamiliar insects and plant life. They were working out details. They kept straying off course and going out of control until they knocked down a door called Taboo. What do you think is the easiest sort of protein of the battlefield? That's right. They were researching ways to using humans as food. Fighting onward, sometimes eating the flesh of enemies, sometimes that of allies, became the ultimate service paid for the country. They were deathly serious about this doctrine. It really is a riot. My grandfather was despised as someone who ate human flesh, and yet they had gone beyond and above that. Apparently, he always thought about it too. Even if he was a vulgar man-eating demon, they were far more ugly demons than he, so no matter how much he was scorned, he wouldn't put up with it. When the soldiers learned it was human flesh, the scientists couldn't make anyone eat it. It was sent to the front lines. The cans were labeled meat substitutes, and so that they wouldn't accidentally eat it themselves, they stamped the bombs with a circle. The starved soldiers on the front lines apparently loved all the prototypes they sent. Among them, those who cooked it up in soy sauce, liked it in sukiyaki, loved it the most.
Come on, Mi-chan, stop. I'm getting sick to my stomach. Those canned goods your grandfather bought back.
I don't know if it was true. Sohei denied it was human flesh up until the day he died. Those who begrudged Hinamizawa's sudden revival called him a savage for making a fortune selling human flesh. The villagers began to be scorned again and returned to the time that children would be jeered at and thrown rocks at them. Why can't people enjoy life together? I didn't know. You can't live without looking down on people? My grandmother, the family head, once told the children of the village this. If they throw a stone at you, then 2 of you must throw the stones back. The children asked her, what if they threw 2 stones at us? Of course, the answer was simple. If they throw 2 stones at you, throw back with 4. If they chase 8 of you with sticks, drive them off with 16. If they slander 3 of you, yell back with 60. Finally, the children asked, what if we were attacked by 1,000 people? Even that answer was simple. If 1,000 people attack you, then everyone in Hinamizawa would stand up against them. It was a manifesto to spur people to action. My grandmother rose up not only as the leader of the Sonozaki house, but a mother of Hinamizawa. Halfway through 1955. Okay. Sorry, I messed up. It didn't... So this is like one of the things in Hinamizawa, in Higurashi, where there's a theme of unity. So, yeah. It didn't matter whether that one was a child or adult. If they heard that a child was been told off, everyone, the crowd, the house perpetrator, acted as a whole. They heard an adult had been treated unfairly. Men and women, young and old, would band together to stand up. If you meddled with people from Hinamizawa, you'd be in trouble. Kei-chan, do you remember how many people came to help you when you got involved with those delinquents in town? Yep. And then they finally had that peace. So, yep. Why? Why can't everyone just live in peace? What happened to those old stories of Oyashiro that I heard from Takano? Man and demon joined hands and lived together in harmony. Didn't Oyashiro remain in this world to watch over that? It's a fairy tale. I mean, that even if those people and the demons were real, Oyashiro who mediated between them wasn't. Is that why Oyashiro's curse happens? A cool gust of wind blows from outside, fluttering Mion's long, beautifully clean hair. Mion kept her refreshing smile without answering. So that Hinamizawa might once more be like Onikafuchi village, so that we may gain a sacred existence worthy of worship. That was the earnest wish of our ancestors in Onikafuchi, and the mission of those who inherit the demon in the Sonozaki main family. Those who inherit the demon. For generations, the Sonozaki family has the custom of including the character for demon in leader's name. If you write out my name on your hand, it should appear as plain as day. Not only in my name either, the demon is engraved on my body as well. When she said that, she quietly rose and began to lay her hand on her clothing.
It's okay, Mi-chan. You don't need to show us, okay?
Thank you. With that exchange, I guessed what she meant. Most likely, somewhere on her body, there was a permanent seal, like a tattoo or marking, that proved that she inherited the demon. Mion didn't sit back. She smoothly opened the paper door onto the porch. A refreshing breeze began to cleanse the damp air filling the room. Mion quietly gazed out the wide yard for quite a while. On her shoulders was something I could never imagine the normal Mion carrying. It was the heavy, truly heavy history of Hinamizawa. No, Onikafuji, weighing down on them. What kind of words could I possibly say to Mion like that? The serial incidents happening over the past 5 years. I was directly related to some of them and indirectly to others. Some were not of the Sonozaki family, but were rather related to the others, the Kimiyoshi and the Furude family. I think I was at the center of all of them. I have faith in what I've done, and I don't feel any guilt. If I did, perhaps it would be that I had decided to leave the stage before the heir is decided. If I am caught and tried in a court of law, then I suppose that's how it works nowadays. Being able to retire with Hinamizawa, the most peaceful it's been in 100 years, could be the happiest thing that's ever happened to any of the Sonozaki leaders of past generations. She leaned her shoulder against the paper door, slid down it, and flopped on the ground. It was an act of such resignation. The numerous terrible crimes Mion had been a part of began to fade from my mind. Hey, Mion, I don't care what happens after this. Can you just try to struggle as much as you can? Try to run away? As soon as I began to think that way, Rena's ringing voice filled the room.
But Rika and Sadako, you killed them, didn't you, Mi-chan?
The sharp points of her words stabbed into my chest, despite it not being directed toward me.
I'm not saying that it's okay if you killed other people. Regardless, Mi-chan, you killed Rika and Sadako.
Rena's words were more biting than any I've ever heard. Even now, we knew all the heavy history. She was still criticized for killing our friends. Just as I bear the duty of the Sonozaki family, Rika bore the duty of the Furude family. That duty was to protect the ritual storehouse. My chest tightened. I learned around last year that Rika had said something about it. The bars in the storehouse were too heavy for her, and she wanted to change them to a simpler lock and key. Even the priest before her had complained about it being heavy. He was very aware how hard it was for Rika. That said, the leader of the Kimiyoshi family, the old man Kimiyoshi, he helped her place the lock. Oh man. Old man, is this really alright? Nana says if it's possible we should keep the lock the same. It'll be alright, you're quite the worrywart. If something happens, this old man will take all the responsibility. Do you promise? Do you mean that you'll take responsibility as the leader of the Kimiyoshi family, right? You should be very well aware of how sacred things inside really are. It's okay, there aren't any bad cats at Hinamizawa who'd open the lock and break in. Oops, that was probably Rika's phone. I'd already heard the thieves entering the ritual storehouse during the Watanagashi festival. There were 4 of them. We decided to act within the day. At the same time, we decided to man the ones who allowed the thieves to break in. Rika, of the Furude family, and the old man Kimiyoshi take responsibility. My tears dripped and dropped. Until now, I had decided that Mion's fault. She killed Rika and the others. That was wrong. The one who killed them wasn't Mion. It was me. I might as well have killed them.
Keiichi,
I had a chance to stop this tragedy from happening, and yet I didn't. Cheap curiosity got the better of me, and I didn't. If at the time I had stopped us from sneaking into the ritual storehouse, Rika and the others wouldn't have had to die. If I had, then nothing would have happened. We'd be spending our days having lots of fun like we always did. I was an idiot. As shedding tears, I could take it all back. I would have filled the room with them. However, such a meager act wouldn't be enough to redeem myself for the crime I've committed. Kei-chan, you're not at fault. Mion gently began to speak to me, as if trying to reason. As the leader of the Sonozaki family, I needed to act, but given the history of the Sonozaki family, thinking about it now, it's no big deal. Maybe I should have saved my friends, even if it meant casting that all aside. I yielded to it, and that's why I killed those two. I, Sonozaki Mion, and nobody else killed them. I had hundreds of chances to stop it, but I didn't stop. I gave him to the easy role that was handed to me, and abandoned all thought of fighting for my friends. So this is my crime. I killed them. Sonozaki Mion, with these hands, killed them. And nothing whatsoever changed. Nothing. Her masochistic laughter was sad, especially when Mion boasted in the club she would turn the tables on whatever predicaments presented themselves. It was so painful.
Still, Michan, you saved one person of your own volition. You left Keiichi alive. As strong as you are, Michan, it would have been no trouble for you, but you didn't kill him.
That's right. Mion was so cunning that nobody could ever stand up to her. Even in our club, if she had seriously tried to kill me, I would have been able to deal on the very first night. So many people had been sacrificed, but I was always left out in the cold. When did I first realize it? Even though people were disappearing one after another for some reason, I had this vague belief only I would be left alive. Why didn't I kill him? As a demon, I can't even begin to guess. Maybe Mion had some reason she didn't want to kill you. What's that supposed to mean? Shh. Is Oishi waiting outside?
Yes.
Any way out?
No. They said they have the place surrounded. It seems they have a lot of cars over the radio. They have your entire property surrounded. Please, turn yourself in. We'll go with you. We'll never leave a friend by herself.
Crying children and Rena are the only things I can't beat. She rose, scratching her head. Well, I'm well aware of how serious my own crimes are. Even if they accept me turning myself in, I'll probably never be able to come back here. I couldn't say anything. The number of deaths Mion was involved in was just too large. So much so that maybe recommending she turn herself in was in a way extremely cruel. So I'd like to hear you want my last selfish request. What is it? 30 minutes is fine. Just let me have some alone time with Kei-chan. Huh? My name suddenly came up.
Keiichi, is that okay with you? If you don't want to, then I won't make you.
You're right. It's okay if you don't want to. After all, I'm a demon, and Kei-chan is a bona fide human who moved here from somewhere else. For us to be compatible, as long as Oyashiro doesn't exist to mediate, simply isn't possible. There was no reason for me to hesitate. Mion had been engulfed by heavy, unopposable tradition. Right now, the duty of handling this had fallen to me, and to me alone. In fact, with me cornered, it would have been okay for her to blame me. But Mion didn't say any word of blame. Far from it. I was guilty of the same crime. She let me go. Amidst the fate she could not oppose, she saved me alone. I didn't know whether I should be thankful for that. Thinking upon it now, I didn't know how much easier it would be if I were to be granted the same punishment as Rika and the others. The only thing I knew for sure was that I had an equal duty to bear, the sins that Mion shouldered. So when it came back to Mion's last request, there was no reason for me to hesitate. Sure, it's fine. Thank you.
I'd like to thank you too, Keiichi.
She stood up. It's fine, Rena. You can wait right here. I just want to go around the yard with Kei-chan. If you're bored, you can go to my room. You can read any manga you like. And if there's any volumes you like, you might as well take them.
I don't want to. Michan's books belong to Michan. Rena could never bring them back home with her so freely.
You're such a good kid, only at times like this. She rubbed her head violently like she always did. Okay, let's go, Kei-chan. I began to walk with Mion, and Rena silently stopped me.
Take care of Michan.
Yeah.
Michan really does believe she won't ever be able to come back. Watch out so you don't make her lose her temper, okay?
Right, I won't let that happen.
Okay, then go after her.
I could hear Rena sobbing from the other side of the paper door.
Why was Michan made a successor to the demons? Maybe it just happened to be that way, but it's just so awful.
Something hot burned down my cheeks. They were my tears. I fiercely wiped them away. This is the last of my time I could offer to Mion, so I absolutely didn't want to let her see my tears during it. Mion was already waiting outside the front door. I put my shoes and tapped my toes against the floor a few times. Why is she turning red at a time like this? Can I hold your arm? It was such a modest request. I don't mind. With her permission, her face lit up with glee, like a child being given a toy, and took my arm. Do you kind of get nervous with your arm through mine? You're not thinking, for example, that I'd suddenly put you in a world-class joint lock or anything? You two say the same things. I don't think that at all. Back when nothing had gone wrong yet, during those nostalgic days of the bustling commotion at Angelmore, I counted back and was amazed. It'd only been 1 week ago. I'd been arm in arm with Shion then too, linking arms with Mion like this. It really reminded me that they were twins. How much strength they put into it. The sensation of their arms, their warmth, the blood flowing. I could feel their living sensations were all exactly the same. I think Shion liked you, Keisha. I see. If this were a regular conversation, I might have jumped back, red in the face. Right now, though, no matter what I heard, my mind remained at peace. Mion and Shion, you got along well, didn't you? Well, I wonder. Kei-chan, do you think your right and left hand get along? Huh? My right and left hand? I don't think you could describe them as getting along or not. That's how our relationship is. You can't measure it by the scale of how well we get along. It didn't sound like they got along well. For example, one of your hands is dominant, so there'll always be a better hand. If you only had one oven mitt, you would think about putting your dominant hand without thinking, right? I think maybe it was like that for us. That doesn't mean, though, that anyone would be okay with losing their left hand. It's just that kind of unexplainable relationship. I think that maybe you live too close together and just stop being able to see it, but I think that means you get along really well. I'm an only child, so the day before the festival, I was really jealous when you and Shion were messing around with each other. I think you're jealous of something that doesn't exist. Yes, we twins used to have a lot of fun playing tricks on people, but now we have such distinctly different personalities, it just gets in the way. Were they cursed, or just self-conscious? Their relationship was hard to understand for an outsider. Maybe that wasn't an issue someone like me could intrude on. Just staying silent and nodding gently was the best way to advance the conversation. Ian passed through the wide yard and invited me into the big, desolate forest we'd seen on the way in. Such a big forest was part of her property. It's huge. Must have a great time playing it as kids, right? She silently reminisced. She remained silent a long time, thinking back on her younger sister whom she'd gotten rid of with her own hands. There was no need to get a word in. Just walking like this, arm in arm, was enough. Mio suddenly stopped and turned. Shion is still alive. Really? Mio took a hard look into my eyes. Yeah. I've been thinking to give her the most horrible death of all, so I had her locked up. I never did think of a good way to do it, though. It sounded like she hated her, but didn't completely detest her. I took my other hand and rustled Mion's hair. Mion didn't only save me, she saved Shion too. Mion may have become a demon and led many people to their deaths, but she fought against it and was able to save 2 people. As I petted Mion, she narrowed her eyes in an entranced smile and entangled her arm from mine, and Mion quietly said, "Come with me. I want you to see all of my sins. Although, Kei-chan, it might be the worst thing you've ever seen." I could sense it. I could probably find all the sacrifices up until now. Looking at them would mean accepting Rika and Sadako's deaths, as well as accepting that my best friend had done it. It's already happened and it's in the past. You can choose not to look, Kei-chan. If you don't want to, then wait here. I'll personally end everything. I was taken aback by how ominous that sounded. I remember what she told me. I couldn't leave her on her own. Besides, I agreed to her last request, didn't I? Even if it was hard for me to accept, I'll still do it. Even if I avoid looking. It was something that had already happened. It doesn't matter what I see. Yes? Sonozaki Mion is the best friend I could ever have. That won't change. It never will. The treetops slowly swayed in the winds. You and Rena both. Why do you only get really cool at times like this? Normally I say something rude right back at her, evading the question, but today I didn't. I just answered with a smile. At last, Mio started walking into the thick forest, into the deepest part. So, the bomb shelter area. Okay, so we're gonna see through that. If you want to turn back, now's your chance. I don't know what kind of person Sonozaki Mion is to you, but if you go inside, that Mion will probably... She won't change. I'll say it as many times as I need to. Sonozaki Mion is the best friend I could ever have. I clenched my fists. Inside there was probably a sight beyond anything I could imagine. If I let my guard down, I might end up vomiting. Even so, I endure it. I'll overcome this pain and suffering. It'll never change that Mion is my greatest friend. I'm nothing more than a demon, so I don't understand human feelings anymore. I have a feeling, though, that I know why Mion fell in love with you. Don't say it like it's not related to you. You're Mion. You're not a demon. You're a human with human blood, and you're my friend. Mio made a gesture like she was wiping tears from her eyes and placed a hand on the big door of the tunnel entrance. This is hard to read. The lock on it was dauntingly strong looking. It seemed to demand the appropriate resolution for whoever would enter like the ritual storehouse. When the double doors opened, a stifling rotten air and a bunch of winged insects came rushing out. Ew! Hold on. Okay. I was messing up a couple of times. You can notice I kind of struggled. So, you saw what was in the ritual storehouse, right? The piles of torture instruments? All of them were created to uphold the strict religious laws of Onikafuchi village. They were tools used to kill those who broke the laws in terrible ways as a warning to others. That was a long time ago. Watanagashi, originally a ritual meant as a deterrent, was once overseen by the three families, but thanks to the Kimiyoshi and Furude families going into decline the way that times changed, actually carrying out became difficult. I can imagine why. You never think people would be okay with drowning people in the swamp and killing them in modern Japan. That's why the Sonozaki family built this. A secret place so we could conduct the rite of Watanagashi even in modern times. She opened a door. It was a modern storehouse for ritual implements. There's quite a few, isn't there? Some of them were actually brought here from the original storehouse. They were rusty and covered in dust. They were maintained in a way that could be used right away. There was blood. Walls and ceilings were covered in tile. According to something a leader from a long time ago wrote, blood spatter was an impact despite the fact that it doesn't tax the sacrifice. Watanagashi was meant as a deterrent after all. My ancestors thought of all types of things to show off. There's seats for the audience. Watanagashi was meant to be a deterrent after all. It would make sense if there were no guests. So there's like a tatami with like cushions and stuff. Right here is where I killed everyone. There were no spectators to watch me, but I did the Watanagashi very well. Well, perhaps there was one spectator. Huh? A spectator? Me. I, the demon, was watching the entire time Mion held the Watanagashi ceremony. Mion cackled in self-depreciation. It wasn't a nice-sounding laugh. Back there is the prison. Is Shion there? She nodded slightly. Mion's Watanagashi had ended today. I needed to tell Shion she was safe. So he's following her. Where's everyone? Rika and Sadako. Their corpses? I grimaced at having it said. Yeah, that's right. The poor things being left here in the dark like this. I didn't want them to get infested with bugs, so I threw them down the well. I'm sorry. So I can't even see their faces in death. Once again, my feelings of regret having confessed everything to Rika came surging forth. If Rika hadn't attached the word sorry, I might have punched her. Calm down, Maibara Keiichi. You said it yourself, no matter what. Sonozaki Mion's your greatest friend. Yeah, my greatest friend. I needed to hear myself say it out loud. Shion! Is that Shion? Kei-chan! Is that you, Kei-chan? Her hands were peeking out of the bars. It really was her. Are you alright, Shion? Are you hurt? No! 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 Shion's face twisted out of shape as she screamed. It was because Mion had appeared right behind me. Of course, she didn't know everything was over yet. Calm down, Shion. Everything's already over. Everything! I spoke in a calm voice as I tried to manage to soothe the agitated Shion, but it didn't seem like it was getting through her screams. Shion, how have you been? No more, please! No more! I don't want to see anyone else die! If you hate me, just kill me already! I'm the one you hate, right? Kill me! Kill me right now! Sis! Calm down, Shion. It's all over now. It's going to be alright, so calm down! Shion, who was screaming and rattling the iron bars back and forth, was truly in a frantic state. Uh-oh. Relax. I won't kill you. No. I won't kill you just yet. Please stop! Don't kill Kei-chan! Kei-chan has nothing to do with this, does he? If you're going to kill someone, then kill me right now! I don't want anyone else to die! If you want to die that badly, then after I killed this man, I'll take my time in making mincemeat out of you. In accordance with the ancient rites, I'll do it slowly, starting with your extremities. Then I'll shave you down and mince you. And I have that mincing machine set up specifically for you, after all. Or would it be funnier if I were to mince up Kei-chan right in front of you? Hey! Quit it already! What do you have to gain by scaring her at this point? Uh-oh. When I turned around at Mion's mouth was so much that it was hard to believe had twisted into a shape thinner than the crescent moon. It was a smile. I could send a jolt of electricity. This person here wasn't my best friend Mion. It wasn't Sonozaki Mion who tossed by her heavy duty of succeeding the Sonozaki family either. Then, who was she? Okay, so keep in mind about the taser. You'll need to remember that one day. So Keiichi's now unconscious. Now then, I wonder how I should go about preparing you. Oh yes, what do you think of a bed of nails? I tested it on those two little brats, but their hands were too small for the restraining table. Let's do that! Let's do that! Sorry, my evil laugh isn't very good. It's been a while, so it's rusty. I'm not gonna read Shion's voice. It's too much. Shion's emotions exploded outward, and she burst into bitter weeping. As if her crying had whetted Mion's interest, she'd flung me down and returned to the prison cell again. My, you sure can cry with a cute voice, can't you? Your natural vibe was making my skin crawl, but this definitely suits you the best. Mion, my big sister, I beg you. I don't care how you choose to kill me, but please, at least let Kei-chan go. I'm begging you. Shion had always acted as though she were cut above her older sister. That Shion in such a miserable voice that I couldn't have imagined during those peaceful times prostrated herself before her older sister. You know, I wasn't planning on listening to your petty wishes. The way that you're crying, though, is just too funny. I think maybe I'll change my mind and listen to you. Since come to think of it, I never did anything big sister-like for you. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Alright then. Let's hear you apologize for everything. Then maybe I'll let it all under the water, under the bridge. Oops, I messed up. And maybe, just maybe I'll let Kei-chan go. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Shion got on her hands and knees behind the bars and began to speak weak words of apology. They were too faint for me to hear, but the intention got across. You think you can make up for years of grudges and hard feelings like that? That just will not do. I guess I'll make mincemeat out of you both! I'm not gonna do that. Mio stopped and waved her hand again in resignation. Not because she had grown impatient, but only because she was taking delight in abusing Shion. I am the only one reading this, okay? By myself. I don't have voice actors, I only have me. You can't apologize to my satisfaction anyway. I'll teach you how to make an apology that I'll get through to your older sister. I'm only going to tell you once. If you get even a letter wrong, you're out. Got it? Yes. Yes. Thank you, sis. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. No. Uh-oh. So Keiichi's getting some control of his body, but he can't move. Did you memorize it? Then let's hear you say it. Sincerely and faithfully from beginning to end with all your heart. If you can do it properly, then I'll only kill you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Something was strange. Something had become strange at this point. Just until a few moments ago, I was sure this was Mion. At some point, she'd become someone else. She'd never enjoy taking somebody's dignity like this. Now, let's hear it. Your big sister's listening closely.
Sunazaki, Shion is...
When I ran over to Shion's cell, had the real thing swapped out with a fake right behind me? Anyway, this couldn't possibly be Mion.
Sonozaki Shion is a lowly, worthless sound, not fit to even lick her big sister Mion's feet. And when I think of the countless time I've been rude to my big sister without knowing my place.
Yes, yes. That's the spirit. I'll permit you to say a little more now, okay? Blood circulated through my whole body. Just a little more.
I reflect on how impertinent I've been and swear loyalty to my big sister Mion for the rest of my life, so...
Alrighty, that was funny enough for me. I didn't think you'd throw away that much of your pride. That was plenty enjoyable.
Sis, only kill me, please. Forgive him.
Don't worry, alright? I'll be sure to kill you real good after letting you get an earful of Kei-chan's scream, that is! Uh-oh. No. Sorry, I can't do it that well. And, I only have one voice, and I only have me. So she's dragging his body. And stuff. Can you hear it, Shion? I'm going to get started now. Please enjoy Kei-chan's young screams. Give it a fucking rest. Awake at last, are we? I lied before, you know. About having to want to give Shion the most miserable death of all and locking her up because I hadn't thought of a good way yet. That was a lie. Uh-oh. And she has a hammer and nails. I'll let her hear the screams of all those people that died because of her, and after they soaked it into her very soul, then I'll kill her. I've got pretty good taste, huh? Who are you? Huh? I'm Mion. Sonozaki Mion. Has fear driven you crazy? No, you're not. There's no way you can be Sonozaki Mion. I see. Then if I'm not Mion, who am I? A demon. Huh? You're not Mion. Mion was just here. Give her back! Kei-chan, is your brain really doing okay? You're not going crazy with fear. Don't touch me, you damn demon! Give her back! Give Mion back! My best friend! Give Mion back! This is what I thought. Mion really had been possessed by a demon. As if I was a separate personality. Maybe Mion was just being manipulated. You really are a piece of work, you know that. In this very moment, Sonozaki Mion is trying to kill you, and you're trying to reject me? I never knew there was a funny person like this in all the world. If you want to laugh, do it all you want. No matter what you say, though, I won't accept that you're Mion. Give her back. Away with you, demon! Kei-chan, are you trying to kill me by drowning me in my own tears? You can do it, Mion! Don't lose to this piece of shit demon! You're strong! Show me how strong you are! Please! Mion! Mion! Where did you lose to a demon like this? You're not that weak, are you? Don't lose. Fight! Fight! In her left hand was the hammer. At her side were dozens more nails. I could tell what she was about to do, although I wish I couldn't. But I couldn't be scared. Oh, my sides hurt like they're about to split. Is that all? I'm going to get started now. Be sure to give her some good screams. Not only am I torturing you, Kei-chan, but I'm torturing Shion as well. Why? Why? What do you... Mion! Okay, so Keiichi's crying. Kei-chan, this may not be something pleasant to take to the grave with you. You really seem to want to know, though. So I'll tell you just one thing. I didn't know if this was Mion or just a display of momentary humanity the demon had recovered, a long time ago before the demon came to live inside me. It was gnawing at my heart, trying to spur me to violence, but I suppressed it with my reason. That settled the demon down, and I got to thinking it had gone away somewhere. As it turned out, I was wrong. It hadn't left me. It just gone to sleep. I noticed there were tears forming in her eyes. The demon woke up again due to a certain small opportunity. What do you think that opportunity was? There was a sad and yet reproachful light in Mion's eyes. Do you understand? I don't know what gave the demon the chance to beat Mion. This might be strange for me, a demon, to say, but you're the reason that everything got so messed up. Okay, I know the reason that she's gonna say sounds really stupid, but this is... I almost dropped Higurashi the first time when I watched the anime up to this point, but it's not the reason at all. It's far more complicated, and please wait for the answer arc. So please do not doubt that it isn't because of just this reason, okay? It's a far more complicated than that, okay? Anyway. The tears welling up inside her eyes spilled downward all of a sudden. At that time, if you had given me that doll without hesitating, then maybe everything wouldn't have gotten so twisted. That doll I got. We had our club meeting at the toy store that Sunday. You probably can't understand. I wouldn't expect you to. But you see, all sorts of things started falling over like dominoes after that. And soon it was too much for me to control. It only makes sense that you wouldn't be aware of knocking over the first one since it was so small. But you're the one who set it up. Can't... Me? If you hadn't made Mion cry, then maybe I wouldn't have woken up. Is that enough? For you to die in peace? A mistake that I made on that day was what messed everything up? See, this is... I know it's hard to believe that it's not the doll, okay? It's something else about it. I am not telling you why, because that would be spoilers. So please, please, please be patient. That can't be, can it? It only makes sense that you wouldn't be aware of it. Even so, Kei-chan, you're without the doubt of cause. If you had nonchalantly given me that doll that day, I don't think this would have happened. I wanted to say, like I just remembered something as I recalled that day. Rena told me that I never apologized. It was to Shion. In other words, oh God, I hadn't said a word of apology to Mion. I came here today to apologize. I never said a word of apology about this. Come to think of it, when I apologized for going to the ritual storehouse, Mion looked a bit lonely, like she was disappointed. Why didn't I realize that and just now? Rena told me at that time, and now she herself... No, the demon was telling me. Is this the only way for a dense idiot like me to be cured, to die altogether? Can I start now, then? This method of torture is very simple. I'll nail one of these into the joint on the end of your left pinky finger. Then I'll nail each one in order to get your thumb. And then I'll go back to your pinky and nail one into the joint in the middle. So on and so on until I hammer 15 nails into your left hand. And when that's over with, I'll do your right hand next. After that, if you're still conscious, I'll tell you. There are a lot of nerves bundled in your fingertips, so it hurts far more than you could imagine. Some people apparently pass out after you finish hammering 30 nails into their hands, so... She pressed the tip of the nail to my left pinky finger. I didn't hesitate at all when I was torturing the others. Why do I hesitate now? If this'll satisfy your demon, Mion. If this'll sate the demon, then do to me what you will. Are you serious? Compared to how much I hurt Mion, this is nothing, right? Do as much as you want. In exchange, promise me 2 things. Mion was silent. She did, however, wait for me to speak. After you're satisfied with causing me pain, forgive Shion. She's been punished enough to make up for her crime of sneaking into the storehouse, hasn't she? You, after all this, you can still worry about Shion more than yourself. The other thing is that when you've had your fun, you disappear. Give that body back to Mion. That's all. You know, you aren't even going to consider possibly begging for your life or anything? Can I ask you to promise 3 things instead of 2? The third is to leave me alive. You said 2 in the beginning, didn't you? So you can't have any more. That's a shame. In such an abnormal situation, Mio and I laughed quietly together as if sharing in a stupid joke. I probably won't keep these promises, understand? I'm a demon after all. I guess there's nothing I can do then. I recall tightening my hands into fists enduring the pain at the dentist's office. But right now they were open all the way to my fingertips, so I couldn't even grip them. I tightened my toes. Okay, do it. I prepared myself already, so do it. You're waiting to hammer the nails and this is scarier. It's gonna diminish my readiness after all. She put down the hammer and gently stroked my cheek. Kei-chan, I'll agree to just the 3rd thing, okay? Huh? My 3rd wish to save me? She'll agree to it. Your 1st wish, to save Shion. That's long done for. The demon will kill her. It's already been decided, so I can't stop it. So give up on that. Her delicate fingers slid from my cheek to my chin. As for your 2nd wish, to give this body back to Mion, that won't happen either. After today, Mion will never come back. From today on, even if my body's here, it'll just be a body, because the Oni has taken it over. That isn't true. Mion, don't say such sad things like she won't ever come back! Can you hear it? That sound. Mion gently closed her eyes and listened. I definitely heard it as well. So it's the police that's coming in. You're late, so Rena probably called Oishi. That spaced-out girl was so quick-thinking. It's the one thing I didn't anticipate. I'll agree with you there. You've probably never seen one before, right? It's a real stun gun. It's illegal, and its output has been increased quite a bit. Is that what you hit me with before? That's not a toy children should be playing with, you know. You're right. So she used it on him. I won't kill you, but I'll have you go to sleep for a bit, Kei-chan. Oishi will be here soon. This'll only hurt a bit. Feeling the same shock as before, gritting my teeth wasn't going to help much. I clenched them anyway. I'm sorry for disgracing Mion. I made a promise before coming in here. Whatever happens, the Mion inside my heart won't change. Look, forget about all that. If you ever see me after today, don't come near me. By then it'll be the demon that inherited my corpse. What are you talking about? And then he gets shocked. June 1983. A string of disappearances occurred in Hinamizawa Shishibani Prefecture. The suspect is Sonozaki Mion. Okay, we're gonna read these. She's suspected to kidnap 5 Hinamizawa residents from June 19th to 21st. Okay, from we all know who all that is. So we're gonna have to skip that. And all that. Because we know it's just documenting, so we have to we're just gonna quickly blare through these things, okay? Sorry. And it's like through like the torture chamber, and they found a lot of DNA and everything like that. Okay, so yeah. Sorry if I'm not doing it perfectly. Sometimes I have off days and stuff and I can't scream. Because sometimes I'm able to scream both as Shion and read it as Mion or whatever. But today's just a bad day. Anyway, they're like wondering about Shion or whatever, but Shion has been like in shock, so she hasn't said anything and all that stuff. Only a few days passed since that time. After that, I was rescued by Oishi and his subordinates whom Rena called in. I didn't have any injuries except for this burn mark for the stun gun. So Oishi questions him about Mion and everything. And he's learning about Shion, who's just hid herself away. And that Shion is inconsolable and she's gone mad. So he tells them about the well and everything. And, yeah. And his parents are deciding to move away.
I see. You're moving, huh? When?
At the end of next month. I won't even have been in Hinamizawa for half a year.
I'll be lonely. I'm the only one left.
Here's something to think about. Mion hadn't actually fled, but had been demoned away in the true sense of the term. Where she went after she disappeared, we didn't know. What was where she disappeared to? I hope there's a hobby shop dealing in imports, the kind Mion liked. In that place she'd definitely be free from burdensome fetters of her family. And live not as Sonozaki Mion, but just as Mion, and enjoy herself. Maybe she's already met with Sadako and Rika. They also must have been waiting for the day Rena and I would join them, spreading all their time doing club activities as lively as they always were. When I told Rena that, she smiled and nodded. How big an impression would these few weeks I spent in Hinamizawa have on my life? During these few weeks, I met my best friends and had the best experiences of my life. I probably never forget it for as long as I lived. As for the distorted image of Mion that the media created, the masses got tired of treating her like a plaything. They'd ball her up, throw her in the trash, and she would fade. As one of the few people who knew the real Mion, I always have to make sure to remember her. Beyond any doubt, that'll surely become an offering to her. The sky reached so far up, towering the cumulonimbus clouds floating through it. The real summer was just before our eyes. And then it was night. Now I was expecting a phone call, but of course she'd never call me. But it was precisely because she wouldn't call me that I was scared of who would call me this time. Mion still hadn't been caught. This Mion's on the run, okay? On that fear, though, I prayed that Mion was safe. The lights were off. Before her attacking when the lights were off, something scared me. The moonlight filtered in the gap and illuminated a doll. That's right, the doll. The doll I should have given to Mion that day. She said it was an import or England or something. After being released from the incident, the first place I went was to that toy store. Everything was apparently sold out besides the things on the storefront displays. I refused once when they said they wouldn't sell the display products. When they realized I was the survivor A from that incident, they immediately consented. Of course, even if I bought it, I might never have the chance to give it to her again. Even knowing that, I waited for the opportunity to give it to her. I waited like this, for the opportunity with it on the desk so I could give it to her at any time. There was a weird noise. It was a noise I wasn't used to hearing. It was too big to be raindrops. And I heard things again. Where is it coming from? I got up and turned on my light. I listened carefully. In the window. It was 2 a.m. Who could it be at a time like this? Who was it? I caught my breath in surprise. If my eyes weren't deceiving me, that person was Mion. I threw my window open. My eyes weren't deceiving me. It was Mion. It was Mion. She was alive! She was in a delicate situation. I couldn't scream out. I quickly hit the brakes. Although happiness sprouted in me, I had the sad feeling this would be our final parting. I grabbed the doll. If there was a God, I don't think I would have ever thanked him as much as today, even if it was the last time. I was so grateful for this one chance to give it to her. I slipped in my sandals, unlocked the door, unhooked the chain, leapt out of the house. Mion! It's been a while. How are you? Been doing all right? It was like how we used to meet every morning. The real Mion. Are you all right hanging around this place? I really shouldn't be. She certainly wasn't acting like she knew the police were following her. It was like she was a patient who had gotten tired of staying in the hospital. Anyway, what's wrong? What do you need at this hour? I wanted to talk to you one last time. I noticed on Mion's forehead big droplets of sweat. Well, I can't stay for any longer. Are you alright? Are you not feeling well? I tried so hard until now. But I can tell I'm done. This is my limit. They're about to come behind me to take me away. Mion's smile crumbled and started to stiffen. Did she push herself this much to come all this way for me? Are you okay? Don't force yourself. Oh, that's right. I had something to give you, Mion. This doll. I had wanted to do this one last thing because I knew how little time you had left. But this last thing, it... My stomach is burning. Mion took a meat cleaver-like knife and stabbed me and pushed it in tight and took it and twisted it. Mion? Hey, it hurts. I made it! I cowered on the ground. My stomach was so hot. It was almost spewing fire. Mion watched it, took a few steps back and cowered. I've done it! I've done it all! That's everyone I wanted to kill! The last words Mion left me that day came back to me. After today, Mion will never come back. From today on, even if my body is here, a body is all it will be. By then the demon will have taken it over. The demon. The demon. The demon. Me. Oh. This can't. I thought we had finally been able to meet. This can't. Mion. In a pool of my own design of blood, the doll I bought for Mion died in red. So red. Mion. This good fortune of having been
allowed to meet Mio once more, and the misfortune of being torn apart before my eyes. Should I be grateful or curse it? My emotions were neither of those, as my consciousness sunk deep into a black swamp. That's all I bought for Mion. The blood had ruined it. No matter how much I scrubbed and scrubbed, it had needlessly been ruined. The sad moon was so white, it looked frozen. Okay, so they report the part where Keiji got stabbed. Yep. Okay. Alright. And he got taken to the clinic, but he's alive. And Mion fled the scene. And Shion... something happened to Shion. Yep. And she's gone, too. Yep. The room had been torn apart, showing traces of a fight. One neighbor has frequently visited the Sonosaki. It sounded like the two sisters were arguing back and forth. But it's strange because it seems like there's only been one. But yeah, apparently she broke her neck and she fell. Yep. Maybe she had like a scuffle or something. Yep. So, yep. Sorry, I'm emotionally compromised, so. Yep. It's hard to read. And yeah. Okay, so Oishi is visiting. Oh my god, it's always this last part of Watanagashi that scares the shit out of me. But yep. Okay, so he's flirting, or he's like, oh my god, Maimura, your mom's hot. Or some shit. And he's just like making some banter with him. He's only visiting for 5 minutes in the hospital because he's not really allowed to be there. So, Keiichi already moved away. And then he got him, like, magazines or something. One of those, those ones. But we're not reading that, okay? Sorry, I don't have time to read all of this. So I have to skip. You could... Okay, I'm sorry. But yeah. The incident with Shion was really unfortunate. That night I was stabbed by Mion. Shion fell from her balcony. Okay. Couldn't have been an accident. It was Mion. It had to be. Yeah, they were the same. She pushed Shion and also stabbed you in one night. Has Mion not been found? Oh, yeah. We did find her. What? Learning that felt strange to me. Uh-oh. That's not all. In the Sonozaki House catacombs, we found a hidden well, just as you said. I see. So, he said that they found all the bodies, including Mion's body. And everything. And then they found a whole bunch of bodies that were in the past and everything, too. Sorry, I'm paraphrasing. I don't have time. I'm only reading the most important parts. You know Furuderica, right? Of course she's my friend. She ever tell you anything along the lines of her regularly taking insulin injections for diabetes? What? We found it in her skirt pocket. A syringe. Ugh. Ugh.
So they're thinking maybe it's like drugs or something. I don't like reading some parts. It's already kind of spooky and everything. The village is in an uproar. Okay. And his mom came off and everything. 5 minutes were gone. And then he's like, Mion, how is she right now? Oops, I already spoiled it. I want you to take your answer seriously, got it? If you say something indiscreet, it could be viewed as an obstruction of investigation. You could be prosecuted. Myra, who do you think the criminal was who pushed Shion from the balcony? There's no way it could be anyone but Mion, is there? Who was the one who stabbed you? Please don't make me say it again. It was Mion. Sonozaki Mion. She pushed Shion and stabbed me. Didn't you admit it yourself that Mion was the criminal? That evidence and testimony is based on a neighbor. That was Shion's bodyguard. Okay. Just everything I already said. He was going to give her a sedative, but the noise died down. The room was a mess. And they decided maybe it was Mion that came in, and they fought. He only heard the side of the wall. Only one person witnessed Sonozaki Mion. Well, isn't it obviously her? Well, Shion is the one not alive, so you're the one who saw Mion Sonozaki. Okay. Were you really stabbed by Sonozaki Mion? Yes, there's no doubt about it. Oishi, you can't smoke in here. The nurses will get mad. Actually, we found Sonozaki Mion at the bottom of the well, too. Sorry, I made a mistake when She fell to her death. We believe that she was trying to escape the hidden passage in the well. Her foot slipped while climbing down the ladder. She fell to the bottom, broke her neck, and died. Same as Shion. Broke her neck. And she had died on the day. Like, she'd already died after Keiichi was knocked out. So Shion's alive. So that's strange. So it gets weirder and creepier. Then who attacked Shion with me? Who was it? The one who attacked you was someone who was Sonozaki Mion, yet not Sonozaki Mion. That's fucking creepy. And this part, do you remember how Takano Mio died? Takano? Yes. I heard that she was, They did the autopsy. She had already been dead 24 hours before the Watanagashi festival. Ugh. Ugh, I really hate this. This is so creepy. Oh my god, Watanagashi is the creepiest. So that would mean that they were already talking with a talking corpse. That's so creepy. I'm not reading this part. It's night. It's 1 a.m. and I'm gonna cry if I read it. I'm already crying because of what happened earlier. A little bit. Ugh, I hate that line so much. I remember I used to, oh my god, sometimes when I accidentally read it, I was, oh my god, it was hard to sleep. So, Oishi has to leave. And it's just more confusing and there's more questions, which I will not spoil. He wanted me to end this incident as it applied to me. It was over. Nothing was over. The incident was still continuing. Then an arm, covered in fresh blood, came out from underneath the bed. I wasn't that surprised. This was an illusion I was seeing seized with fear. Kei-chan, I told you, remember? I heard a guttural voice coming from under the bed. I still recognize it as Mion's voice. What, Mion? Why did you tell me? I warned you on that day. After today, if you see me, it'll be the demon that has possessed my body. You did. You said that, didn't you? Sorry. Guess I wasn't careful enough. That's why I got stabbed. Her fingernails were broken. Her arm slowly felt at the top of the bed, searching for mine. Oh, hey, Mio and I thought of a good joke. Want to hear it? The Mio under the bed didn't answer. Let's say that I died here today, but tomorrow I'd still be here living a normal life. So when Oishi learned about it afterward, the time of death wouldn't make sense once again. He'd make a huge deal about how someone who should have died was alive, and he'd totally lose his head. Takano and then Mio and then me third. So funny, right? Makes you laugh, doesn't it? Kei-chan. Laugh. Or was it not that funny? Mion's blood-stained hand groped around and found my wrist. Her fingernails were torn. She gripped it hard, as if scratching me. Go easy! It hurts! Kei-chan, I've come for you. I tried to shake my wrist loose. The strength she held it with was unbelievable. I couldn't. She was only gripping one wrist, yet my whole body wouldn't move. I couldn't even twitch. My fingers were spread apart. I couldn't make a fist either. And the fact I couldn't make a fist reminded me of the restraining table. I felt a crooked nail press against my left pinky fingertip. Mion's forehead was split open with a face covered in blood. She smiled and got right in front of my nose. Nothing was over. Nothing was over. This incident is far from being over. It's still going on. It's still happening. Someone please end this incident. This cruel, tragic, unfortunate, sad incident. Please end it. That is my only wish. I granted you one before, remember? You don't get any more. Mio firmly held the nail on my fingertip. Her other hand, she slowly swung a mallet up into the air and... Oh. My God. Alright, let's try to read what we can. Quickly. Let's go through the extras. I was actually hoping that... I guess there was something that I was missing. Oh well. I mean, something that's only in the manga. Huh. There's a moment in the manga at the end that I really like and that you should read. I mean, if anyone is watching. I don't know. Okay.
Thank you very much for enjoying Higurashi When They Cry Watanagashi. How did you like the story this time? If you enjoyed it even a little, I'm happy. A little nothing? Not again! It was a huge bad ending again, was it not? It's enough to make me simply furious. I'm furious.
Well, good work, everyone. Well, that's how it ended, but don't you think the story was kind of like a Mion chapter? I'm extremely satisfied with how big a role I played. Now that I think about it, this is also kind of like the tea parties in Umineko, in a sense.
You cannot call such a thing a success! Rika and I got killed too, didn't we? None of this concerned Sadako at all either. I didn't want to die like that! Now, don't cry. There was a story centering around Mi-chan, so there'll probably be one that centers around Sadako too.
Wow, I'll spoil this one. It's in Tatari Garoshi End.
Looking forward to it.
Sadako would definitely get attacked by a crowd of weirdo bullies and abused to death.
I don't want that! Mi-chan, if you joke around too much, you'll make me angry too. Me has a flat chest. Your mind wouldn't understand even if it wanted to be petted.
Oh, they expanded.
Your body's so unchaste.
Hey everyone, great work. Sorry we're late again.
Tomitake, Oishi, yes, you did a great job as well. Where's Takano and Shion?
They're coming, of course. Thank you for inviting us today. May I sit here?
Yeah, go right ahead.
With all of us here, this sure is to be the best part. Please go easy on me.
Then should we get started? Is this everyone? Everyone but Keiichi.
Left behind! Which means my bar still doesn't have a portrait. We're still gonna read the scripts in the next story immediately. I said I don't have time, but we're reading this part. How unfortunate, it doesn't feel right to leave him out. Mio, you don't have to worry about that. At times like these, all out is actually a way of showing consideration.
That's true, isn't it? We're all here for once, only awake would be boring.
And sorry, Keiichi. We'll take things from here. It's decided. Okay, everyone, get the cups. Does anyone not like carbonated drinks? There's alcohol for the adults, too. Rika, what will you have? Cola? Juice?
Me. I want what Tomitake's having. Hey, Rika, you're not allowed to drink. Has everyone got their cups? If we don't make it toast soon, my juice will get warm.
He'll leave Neon. Rena should do it. Okay, Rena, go ahead.
Then, everyone, excellent work. The Watanagashi chapter is now over.
Thank you. Okay, everybody's here. Shall we debate the story again?
I think so. Then let's get some honest opinions. Does everyone here have something to say? An honest opinion. Was the story this time not an answer chapter? The criminal was Mio, the root of all evils, the Sonozaki family. Wasn't that the conclusion? I see. I was so sure that Mi-chan wasn't the criminal.
Too naive. This is entirely predictable in the previous Onikushi chapter, was it not? In fact, it's almost shocking how predictable it was. You're right. It probably in line from the most predictions made by players of the previous scenario.
It's like the story went exactly as everyone expected. Then does that mean the main Higurashi when they cry scenarios is pretty much over? So it's a sure thing the root of everything was Mi-chan's family?
I wonder. In fact, I think that this all means the theory of Sonozaki being the guilty party has been disproven. Oh, you had the same opinion, Mito? I think the same way, though I still don't believe in curses. At the very least, however, I think the chances of the Sonozaki family being the true criminals has gone down.
Huh? Why is that? Didn't Mi-chan confess she killed everyone? That's right, she killed Rika and me, so what do you mean she isn't the criminal after all that?
I'm not trying to confuse you or anything, it's just that I think there's a lot of things that don't go with Mio being the one behind everything. If you think about it a little, you'll get it. Huh? I believe the truth should be more or less in line with the Sonozaki family theory, but I'd love to hear your theory, Mio. Then, hear me out. Near the end, I confessed that I participated in the past events, right? I thought something wasn't really right about all that, so I guess that's my basis. I mean, think about it. If the incidents of the past were caused by the Sonozaki family, that would be crazy. Wouldn't they all be perfect crimes? They're all attributed to other criminals or simple accidents after all. Well, that's right. The Sonozaki family is very powerful, and they're acting behind the scenes. Would pulling off perfect crimes be child's play for them? That's just it. That's the weird thing. The Sonozaki family have been killing and erasing people so well for the last 4 years, they didn't even let out a hint that they were behind it, right? But the incident in the 5th year, that was really cheap. They're killing and erasing people at random. Any idiot could see the connection of the Sonozaki family.
Now that I think about it, you're right. The incidents in the past were all mysterious, and nobody could tell if they were just because of the curse or simple crimes. But then on the 5th year, they suddenly got really violent. I do not understand what you're saying. Rika, do you? She means that if the Sonozaki family were the real criminals, they would have done a much, much better job of the incident on the 5th year. So what does that mean? Mion wasn't the one who killed Rika and me, but it was the work of the demon who possessed Mion? Come now. Just as I thought last time, Mion wasn't a bad person after all, wasn't she? That's right. Sadako and I both thought that she was doing bad things because she was possessed by something. Then, does that mean our theory was right?
I've been supporting the curse theory since the last after party. The story this time makes me all convinced it's more true. The fact revealed that at the very end. The information regarding how Mio and Takano had died days before despite being witnessed seems to indeed support that theory. Oh my, I see the curse believers who seemed unconfident last time have grown quite a bit more self-assured. Do any of those who think it was human have any objections?
Last time Mi-chan and Rika were the ones who thought it was the work of a person. Tomitake did too, didn't he? Okay, let's hear what you've got then.
You got me there. I can't quite find the right words. One of the pieces of evidence for the curse theory is the mismatching times of death, right? So I disprove that theory, it could prove that a human did it, wouldn't it? Oh, Shion, you have a good objection? Well, I suppose. I have the same opinion as you, Mion, that it was a human. But I don't think the Sonozaki family were the main culprits either. If it's okay with you, I'll offer my objections. What? Show us what you've got! If you say it wasn't the curse, then let's hear your evidence! Okay, Shion. That last trick we've been talking about. Despite Mion having died the day of the incident from falling into the well, had she appeared days later to kill you and Keiichi? Here it is! My Sonozaki sisters' conspiracy theory. My reason's simple. If Mion was dead at that time, the only one who could have stabbed Kei-chan was me. I disguised myself as Mion and stabbed him. Then I went back to my room pretending to have a tussle with a ghost and jumped right back down and killed myself. Oops, wait, I should edit that. So when you get... she jumped down and then she did Roblox in Game Over. Okay? When you get that to it, Mion in this case would be the one to take the blame. She'd take care of the mayor in person. Shion would be made merely into a victim. If she hid herself in the well, disguised Shion, could she show up where she pleased and murder whoever she wanted, all planned from the start? I get it, then Mion made two mistakes. First, her corpse was found. Second, was dying when she only planned to hide. That's what it would have meant.
Oh, well now, you're right. There's something logical about that.
However, I'm still not convinced. It was too different from the magnificent perfect crimes in the past. Even if their plan went well, Mion would end up the bad guy, wouldn't she? She'd either have to hide the rest of her life or live pretending to be Shion, wouldn't she? That would be too constrained. You can't call that a perfect crime.
In other words, whether by dying or disappearing, me would have to go away.
Rika, that's a good thought. That means we should consider that Sonozaki Mion leaving the stage was part of their plan. That's why the end Mion took the blame for all the incidents in the past. She took responsibility for all of them herself, then left. By doing that, she'd cover up the true culprit behind the past incidents, which means that this incident wasn't shabby. Its purpose was to cement all the past incidents as perfect crimes. I suppose that's what it comes down to. The young leader of the Sonozaki family, who was the biggest suspect, confessed to everything and disappeared. For her, perhaps this non-Sonozaki true culprit, there was likely no more favorable outcome.
I don't even understand even an inch of our conversation. What do you mean, Mion taking the blame? Is she not the culprit? Let me put it this way. The true culprit behind the Sierra Freak death incident was somebody else. Michan gave a false confession that she caused all the previous incidents to protect that person, or so everyone's saying.
My, I said during the story, but it seems we have an incredible detective on our hands, yes. It does seem a bit persuasive. An incident started to throw the scent off the true criminal. That's my reasoning. Though if I go through it, I think the true criminal the culprit isn't the part of the Sonozaki family. So was Mion disrupting the incident to further protect the mystery person who pulled off the perfect crime for 4 years running then? That's right. The site foreman only appeared in the name in the last story. Pretty suspicious if you ask me.
Amazing. It really does all add up.
I still think the Sonozaki family and the sisters are culprits though. An incident caused the sisters to sever their old feathers to the three families to clear away the past. That's my theory. Clearing away the past, you mean that they placed the blame for the three families' crimes on their final leader, Mion, to put an end to the dark history, and the two of them left. That's right, it would make a sad story when we sisters finally choose to end it after a lot of worry. We went a little too far.
Amazing. It really all does add up. Wait, what? It looks like Rika has an opinion too. Go ahead, Rika. I have a question for you all. Why did Keiichi need to get stabbed?
We already know why that is, Rika. It's obviously because he went to the Forbidden Storehouse without asking. Thinking back on it now, Tomitaki and Takuma probably died in the previous story because they snuck into the storehouse, eh? That's rather strange indeed.
Huh? What is it that's strange? Rena, that's right. Won't you think back, please? That's right. In the previous scenario, they were after Keiichi's life even though he didn't sneak into the ritual storehouse.
Well, that's because, yeah, Hinamizawa hates outsiders, right? That's why they try to kill Keiichi. That would be so strange, though. They should have attacked Kei-chan's parents, too, in that case. No matter how you look at it, his parents never seem to be in much danger. Either this time or the last.
Hear that, everyone who thinks it was a human's doing? Unless you could properly explain the reason Keiichi's life was threatened, you can't definitely prove the criminal was human, can you?
Even with the curse theory, however, we don't know why Myra was attacked this time or last time.
With a little more, we would have had it. There's still a lot of mysteries remaining.
We can some kind of reasoning for everyone but Keiichi to die. But for some reason, Keiichi's death was always vague. Both this time and the last. He was being targeted whether he went into the ritual storehouse.
Then does that mean he was not doing something that got him killed both last time and this time?
I see. If we can find something in common about Myra's actions between last time and this time, it seems to be the key to unraveling all the incidents. I skimmed through the stories again, but I think he's going on about his life his own way. Though aside from the part of the storehouse, I didn't spot anything suspicious about his daily lifestyle.
Keiichi, what did you do both last time and this time? Something bad that caused you to be killed?
Something.
It's best to ask the person himself when you're unsure.
So I was reading for the script for the next thing all myself. You are all talking behind me behind my back, I see.
Well, that's that. Anyway, Keiichi, you should try asking your own heart.
Kei-chan, so what kind of bad things did you do that would get you killed?
It must surely be all the violent things he does toward me. Squeezing my...
Oh, no, we're not reading that. Yeah, being happy all day surrounded by girls his age is kind of a crime in this first place. A grave crime indeed. Myra is truly an envious main character, isn't he? Switch out with me once in a while, would you? Well, with all those perks, getting stabbed in the end isn't really much of a price to pay.
Well, there you go, Keiichi. How do you remember the crimes you've committed?
Both this time and the last, I live a proper and just life, and I always meet a terrible fate in the end. What was that about ask my own heart? I'm the one who wants to know. This is bullying.
How sad. How sad. I'll pet your head next time for you.
I wonder if we should go back and read Onikakushi again after reading this one. I'm going to put myself in Mio's shoes and read it back over Watanagashi. Maybe I'll find something different comparable when I read it from Kei-chan's point of view.
I'll always think it was the doing of a demon. All these events and tricks can be explained with a demon. It's kind of like plasma. What did you, the readers, think about it? We certainly like to hear your thoughts and opinions. Through the mail, is there an address?
Sorry. I'm like, oh, we don't have time to read it. Let's read the freaking tips and extras and give this the time of day. Like an idiot. Well, whatever. You're supposed to be solving the mystery anyway, and I'm not supposed to spoil, so whatever. Anyway, we're done with that. Alright, thank you for listening to me read, even though I messed up a lot and everything. I am done now. Hold on. Before we end things off, why don't we go on Twitch and see if there's been any chatting. Oh, okay. Alright, well, I'm gonna go. So, okay. What's up? Yo, okay, I don't know. I gotta go now. Alright. Goodbye. I don't know if anyone's still here, so I end it now. Good night, everyone. I don't know when I'll read Tatari Goroshi. Maybe I'll go back to just playing regularly video games, and then when I feel like it, we'll kick off on Tatari Goroshi, the Curse Kelly chapter. Good night.